The first problem is that she's the evil queen. The evil queen is supposed to be envious of Snow White's beauty, and that is just not believable. Even in a movie with magical mirrors and dwarves and all that, that strains my ability to suspend disbelief.
Probably the biggest aspect of disbelief you have to suspend is the idea that Gal Gadot, as the wicked witch here, as the evil stepmother, is somehow less good looking than Rachel Zegler.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Come on, gang. We ain't blind.
Disney doesn't know what a Disney princess is anymore, which is crazy.
Rumors are swirling that Gal Gadot is far from happy with her Snow White co-star Rachel Zegler after whispers of a box office flop started making waves. The Wonder Woman star, known for her elegance and commanding screen presence, is reportedly losing it behind the scenes, setting off a storm of speculation among fans and insiders.
Disney's Snow White was essentially a box office dud. Early estimates suggested that they would take in 48 to 58 million in the first weekend. Apparently, it did 43 million in its first weekend.
Could the film's alleged flop be stirring up tension between these two leading ladies? Or is this just another wild Hollywood rumor? Let's dive into the drama and unravel the truth behind the headline that has everyone talking. At the end of the day, it's not about Disney's messaging, whether ideological or not. The real issue? A massive chunk of the audience thinks the movie is just plain bad.
$270 million. Obviously, it was going to win the box office. It's the biggest movie at the box office this weekend. But, for example, Disney's Cinderella, which for my money is still the only good live-action Disney remake.
Critics and fans alike have slammed the film, calling the acting unconvincing, the direction uninspired, and the CGI an absolute disaster. Some scenes feel downright unsettling, not because of the story, but because the visuals are so jarring and cartoonish. In an era of cutting-edge special effects, these design and execution flaws stick out like a sore thumb.
It's going to be a gigantic box office failure. But the trend that you're noticing is that the worst performing of the Disney movies, in terms of live-action remakes, are basically everything in the last 5 years.
At its core, many fans feel that Snow White completely missed the mark when it comes to honoring the spirit of the classic tale. While it's understandable that Disney wanted to modernize certain aspects, the final product feels like a messy patchwork of misguided decisions. Whether the blame falls on the cast, producers, or creative team, one thing is clear: the film is stirring up more controversy than cash.
And that is a combination of wokeness and the pandemic. And now you better have a good reason to get people to the theaters, and this ain't it.
Then there's the ongoing feud between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, a drama that has become a major headache for Disney insiders. Their friction is nothing new, but instead of cooling down, things have only gotten worse. They've clashed again and again, and with each new dispute, the tension deepens. This isn't just a simple personality clash. It's turning into an all-out war.
The movie apparently is not very good. I haven't seen it yet. I would be shocked if it were. Again, the star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
This feud runs deeper than just clashing personalities. It's tangled in politics, creative control, and growing disagreements over the film's promotional strategy. Disney is caught in the crossfire, struggling to juggle both a messy marketing campaign and the very public fallout between its leading ladies. And it's not just behind-the-scenes drama. Critics who usually go easy on Disney are changing their tune, calling Snow White a complete misfire.
Studios really need to go back to what they originally did, which was tell your stars to shut up and not say things, because no one is paying to hear your star say offensive things off the screen.
Even Disney's most loyal defenders, mockingly called Disney shills by frustrated fans, are starting to voice their disappointment with this adaptation. This shift in the critical narrative is yet another blow to Disney, a studio that has long relied on carefully crafted positivity to sell its projects. And the impact is impossible to ignore. Ticket sales are tanking, falling far below expectations.
I wanted to talk to you because you might be as happy as I am at the failure of Snow White.
Disney was aiming for a blockbuster, but instead they got a full-blown disaster that's failing to connect with both die-hard fans and casual audiences. Even the once promising chemistry between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, two big names that should have drawn major attention, has completely backfired. It's never a good sign when your lead stars seem locked in a non-stop battle, both behind the scenes and in public.
It's been 2 years, and it's been one of many now predictable Disney failures.
Multiple insiders report that tensions behind the scenes have hit an all-time high. The usual camaraderie studios try to build for press tours has completely fallen apart, replaced by an air of discomfort. The strain became impossible to ignore when Disney attempted to organize a commentary recording for the film's upcoming digital release, a session that was supposed to feature Andrew Burnap.
And it's more than just a movie at this point, because normally I wouldn't even watch a princess movie, but it became such a punching bag.
Plan was simple. Have the 3 lead stars share lighthearted stories about the production, keeping things fun and engaging. But instead, the session spiraled into a heated argument, fueled by political differences and personal grudges. According to insiders, Rachel Zegler demanded that Gal Gadot stay silent on her support for Israel during the commentary and press appearances, seemingly worried that such statements would spark even more controversy and take attention away from the film itself.
The culture war and a symbol. And Rachel Zegler has become the symbol of everything that's wrong with modern Hollywood right now.
Gal Gadot fired back, insisting that no one had the right to silence her personal beliefs or stop her from speaking if asked. The argument quickly escalated, forcing Disney staff to step in and shut down the planned 2-hour commentary session. Things got so tense that some Disney executives even considered releasing a commentary track without Gal, featuring only Rachel Zegler and Andrew Burnap.
And the audience has spoken. They were, honestly, Glenn, they were telling every trailer that hit YouTube was getting ratioed into oblivion. And yeah, so Disney was telling you exactly what this movie was going to be.
Bob Iger, however, reportedly stepped in and shut that idea down, recognizing the obvious backlash it would create. Excluding GDAU would have sent a loud and clear message to the public that the cast's relationships had completely fallen apart behind the scenes. Rachel Zegler was especially determined to make sure the commentary focused on her musical performances, her songs, vocal techniques, and creative approach to reimagining classic melodies.
And the audience was telling them exactly what they thought of it. And now, unsurprisingly, it's flopping.
Meanwhile, the schedule reportedly set aside a significant amount of time for Gal Gadot to discuss her portrayal of the evil queen, the depth of the character and the transformation she went through. Zegler saw this as unfair, which only fueled her frustration. In response, Gal Gadot called out Zegler's inflexibility, saying she was incredibly difficult to work with in group settings.
This movie, her reaction, the way they did all of it, I think this is part of the undoing of that era as well.
The personal tension bled into their professional commitments, making it nearly impossible to put together a cohesive behind-the-scenes commentary track. This was a major disappointment for Bob Iger and other Disney executives, who saw it as a lost opportunity. Commentary tracks can be powerful marketing tools, especially when a film is wrapping up its theatrical run and heading to streaming or DVD.
These were movies made with a mindset of identity politics, intersectional feminism, which really goes against what Hollywood had done for hundreds of years.
Meanwhile, Disney has been scrambling to do damage control on yet another front: the film's disastrous test screenings and brutal critical reception. Several scenes are reportedly getting last-minute digital adjustments, while others are even being considered for partial reshoots. The goal? To soften the blow of certain clumsy story elements that have been relentlessly mocked by both social media and film critics.
And Hollywood doesn't know how to be good anymore. They are so black-pilled. They are so dystopian. They are so nihilistic at this point that when you see something that's just good, that it disgusts them.
But these changes might just be band-aids on a deep wound. Public perception is already so locked in that it's hard to imagine any edit rescuing the film's reputation. The real tragedy? Snow White holds a legacy that few Disney properties can rival. The original 1937 animated classic didn't just put Walt Disney on the map. It set the stage for decades of beloved animated films. Watching such an iconic story get overshadowed by production troubles, cast conflicts, and underwhelming execution is a major blow, both symbolically and financially. And for Rachel Zegler, once seen as a rising star, the fallout from this disaster could be career-altering.
What's happened is masculinity has been drained out of Hollywood, and it turns out they needed it. That's what it was built on. Now, it doesn't mean, and so is femininity. which, Snow White is essentially feminism versus femininity.
Many in the industry are already wondering if casting her in future blockbusters is just too risky, especially with the controversies that seem to follow her. While it's not uncommon for Hollywood stars to have strong political opinions, pushing those views too forcefully during a press tour, particularly for a family film, can turn off a large chunk of the audience. On top of that, her feud with Gal Gadot, a globally recognized star, has completely overshadowed her previous accomplishments.
And sure, you could, yes, it's made in 1937, but it boggles my mind that Disney took the film that built their empire.
Yes.
That it is a paradigm shift movie that is sacred text in Hollywood.
Talent alone might not be enough to undo the damage caused by a flood of negative headlines portraying her as difficult. Gal Gadot, on the other hand, isn't walking away unscathed. She's been dragged into the controversy as well. But thanks to her A-list status and massive popularity as Wonder Woman, she may escape with her reputation mostly intact among her loyal fan base. Even so, insiders suggest this drama could put a strain on her relationship with Disney as a company.
And just threw away the original script and gave us, and I'm not kidding, communist propaganda.
Why do you say that?
Snow White.
In a perfect world, Disney would want its leading ladies to stand together as a united front, but that's far from the case here. Snow White, 2025, has become a textbook example of how a major studio production can spiral out of control on multiple levels. Proves that even with a massive budget, strong brand recognition, and an iconic story, a film can still flop if the cast is divided, the script lacks focus, and the marketing team fails to handle controversies properly.
It really does feel like they did massive reshoots during the strike. So they tried to fix some of it, so it's kind of half a fairy tale.
Adding to the disaster, industry analysts have already declared the film a complete flop. Its domestic box office numbers have fallen far below even the most cautious projections, and international earnings haven't been enough to make up for the losses. To make matters worse, the film's final act has become a laughingstock, widely mocked for its sudden tonal shifts and a climax that leaves audiences scratching their heads. Instead of delivering a powerful, triumphant ending, it stumbles awkwardly, trying and failing to blend modern themes with the timeless structure of a classic fairy tale.
And half, as the BBC says, Glenn, a Marxist call to arms. Even the BBC called it out for its communist propaganda.
Fans who cherish the original Snow White are left wondering, how did Disney let the story go so far off track? Making matters worse, even the so-called Disney defenders in the media have largely abandoned ship. A few have tried to salvage the film's reputation by praising the costumes, certain stunt sequences, or its attempts at social commentary. But the dominant narrative remains one of failure and misjudgment. With so much negativity surrounding the film, speculation is running wild. Many believe it will cost Disney hundreds of millions in losses. Even if they try to recover some revenue through merchandise or theme park tie-ins, the overwhelming cloud of bad press is scaring off audiences. Meanwhile, Bob Iger is facing a major dilemma. Should Disney publicly insist that the film is simply misunderstood? Or would it be wiser to quietly move on and focus on future projects, hoping the controversy fades on its own? Traditionally, Disney has been quick to pivot after a box office flop, but with all the cast drama attached to this disaster, sweeping it under the rug won't be so easy. Each time Gal Gadot or Rachel Zegler gives an interview, the media seizes the opportunity to revisit the controversy. To make matters worse, online communities are flooding social media with memes and commentary videos mocking everything from the film's questionable redesign of the dwarfs to the rumored meltdown during the studio commentary session. While Disney is no stranger to social media backlash, this level of sustained negativity is rare. The situation is reminiscent of previous controversial blockbusters, but this one hits a core Disney property, raising the emotional stakes for longtime fans. Many viewers blame the film's failure on misguided attempts to modernize the story. They argue that Snow White didn't need drastic reinterpretation to remain relevant, and that forcing contemporary moral messages into the narrative only highlighted its weak plot. Disney had stuck to a more faithful adaptation. With improved pacing, stunning visuals, and well-developed character arcs, the film might have avoided avoided at least some of the hostility. Instead, Snow White now serves as a cautionary tale. Even a strong brand name can't salvage a poorly executed project, and a dysfunctional cast can derail production from within. Rachel Zegler's insistence on inserting her personal politics and controlling publicity clashed directly with Gal Gadot's right to express her own views. Had the movie been critically acclaimed, some of these controversies might have been forgiven or overlooked, but since the film itself has failed to impress, the conversation remains focused on its lackluster execution and the drama surrounding its stars. Looking ahead, it remains to be seen how Disney will handle the fallout. More reshoots, public statements from the creative team, or will the company quietly cut its losses and dump the film onto Disney Plus with minimal fanfare, hoping the backlash fades over time? Meanwhile, both Zegler and Gadot face uncertain futures. Will studios be willing to pair them in another project, or have their reputations suffered too much damage? This entire ordeal raises deeper industry questions. Could Disney have managed things differently from the start? Should Zegler have toned down her political stance for the sake of professionalism? Did Gadot handle the situation responsibly, or could she have de-escalated tensions by remaining more neutral? If you've been following this controversy, I'd love to hear your take. Should Disney have been more careful with casting and script development? What lessons should Hollywood learn from this? Leave your thoughts in the comments. For now, Snow White remains a textbook case of corporate miscalculation, cast conflicts, and creative missteps. Even the most iconic stories require more than just brand recognition to succeed. They need strong storytelling, a united cast, and marketing that highlights the film's actual strengths. Otherwise, social media backlash can reduce even the most expensive productions to cautionary tales. Thank you for tuning in to this deep dive into the ongoing Snow White drama. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Hollywood breakdowns. Let's keep the conversation going, and until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, sometimes the behind-the-scenes drama is more compelling than the movie itself.